Well, good morning. This is Al with Ginnin Cotton. The last few videos we have spoken about what we do with the cotton once it's called in, what is our job, what services do we provide to the farmer. And this is pretty general. We may have a few more services that we provide because we are strictly 100% independent gin. We have no cotton tied to us. So I don't farm, and so if I don't have customers, then I don't gin one bale of cotton. So with that being said, we've gone through the process, and so now the farmer has called his cotton into us, and we go to pick it up. So I send trucks out to pick this module up, and we bring it across the scales, and we make a weight. We take a weight on this truck. This is a module tag. So with this module tag, we take this and we assign this to that module, whether it be 4 rounds that make one module, or it be a single large module. So when we get the weight on that, we have a barcode scanner and we scan this tag, and we take a module pin and we stick this into the module. Once we do that, that is a permanent ID that stays with that module. We try to pick up a full field at a time. That way we have a bulk amount of one man's cotton. So when we start on his cotton and we end with his cotton, we can call him and say, Farmer Brown, your field made 300 bales. And so from there, we can take the weights that we have ginned. So what happens is we take this module, we go into the gin on the module feeder, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the module feeder. But with that being said, the module is the beginning stage of this processing process. Okay, so we scan this in, it goes into our master computer. So when it goes into the ginner, when he sees it get to a certain spot, he gins it. He scans this tag because he has a barcode scanner in the gin as well. That the ginner is the guy running the gin stands. We'll get into that later. So from there, when a bale comes out, it's assigned to this module. We also have an accumulator on a seed scale, and that accumulator starts scanning or starts weighing and putting the weight of that cotton seed with this module as soon as we scan this tag. Okay, so as a bale comes out, so we'll scan the barcode at the ginner once it gets to the gin on the module feeder. It comes to the ginner. Once that ginner scans this, that is a sign that every cotton seed and every weight of all the length that comes from this next succession of bales is assigned to this one module. Okay, that may sound like a bunch, but basically we give it a number 1, and then there's going to be 10 bales that come after it. And so number 1 module has 10 bales and X amount of seed that's assigned to that one module. Then we move on to the next one, and this succession would be 2668 would be the next module. And that's how we keep up with it. So basically what happens is I make a ginning list. And so when you call the cotton in, or when the farmer calls the cotton in, it's going to say, he's going to say, this is Farmer Brown. I have 30 modules on field 1124. And so I go tarp them and we go get them. We bring them back to the yard and we set them on the yard until it's their time to be ginned. As soon as it's their time to be ginned, there's a module list. There's 3 copies that are made. One goes to the truck that's going to be picking them up, because I have 2 trucks out on the yard that pick the cotton up from the yard and put it onto the module feeder. The module feeder is where we're going to set this module. It's just a rolling bed, and depending on the type of module we're ginning is going to depend on the which machine we're going to use on that. If it's the large big loaf module, it's going to come on in and we're going to do our normal deal. There's no processing other than a little sand removal on the module feeder. So this big chunk comes in there, and we've got cylinders with spikes at a 45-degree angle, and this big module moves in and it starts chopping it up, and it throws it back over on an auger, and that auger runs this out to where we're able to pick it up with an airline to be able to get it inside the gin to start our process. In this step, in most gins, well, I would say most gins, there are some form of a grate system that this cotton's raked across. And the sand, we try to get as much sand to come out of there as possible. The reason this is important is we're moving such product at such a high rate of speed with air that the sand in the air becomes just like sandblast sand. And so we can actually pull full giant pieces of metal. We eat up our transitions. We eat the whole blade off of our fans in 15, 20,000 bales just from the sand that's coming out of this cotton. So we want to remove that sand as much as possible. Also, a lot of your burrs are used for cow feed. So if we can remove the sand as much as possible and not be putting that sand out there with our burrs, then that also makes our burrs a little bit more of a palatable or a little bit user-friendly feed for the end user when we don't have as much sand in those burrs. Okay, we'll get to the burrs and how that's done later. Okay, so we've got a ginning list. We get the module, we put it on the module feeder, and we just stack those boogers in there, and we run them. And we run them, we clean them, gin them, package them into a bale, and out they go. The things that we have to look at, though, are now, and you see them in the field, we have the big loaves, which are modules. People call them loaves sometimes. We call them modules. And then we also have the rounds. So what do you do with the rounds? That's a great question. So when we bring the rounds in, these rounds have to be unwrapped. And the problem with the round is you can't just go slice it and chop the plastic off of it because this thing weighs 4,000 pounds, maybe 5,000. Well, how are you going to get the wrap that's up underneath that cotton out? Because you're not going to just slip it out. So we have a product that we use in my gin called a spider. And the spider comes in, we run this module in there. The spider reaches around, it grabs it, it picks it up. And so when that module's been sitting for a bit, it makes a flat side on it. So we have to turn that module enough to when we set it back down, we don't hit the edge of that flat side and roll that booger right off of the module feeder. So we roll it, and we've got a knife that comes in and cuts it. It pulls it off, and while all the weight is suspended, we can just pull it off just like a shirt. So once we've done that, then this is a product that's ready to roll. And we've got pictures of a module unwrapped, a round module coming out of this spider, and you can kind of see what it looks like. Because amazingly enough, it's packed in there so tight that unless it's extremely dry, this thing maintains its integrity. And so it stays round on one side and it's flat on two. And so we can just stack them in there. We call them a sausage feed, go like this, like this, like this. And so the cool part about the round modules is depending on, so for one certain field. So those machines are going to have pretty much the same density. And so we can set our dial to however much cotton we want to come in, and it never deviates. So the density of that cotton stays the same as we come into the gin and we chop it up. I'm going to digress a little bit and let you understand why I'm talking about this. Because on the round or on the square modules, the rectangular ones that some people call loaves, we call modules, there's a man up there running controls. And they dump the cotton off into this module builder, and there's a man up there running the controls. Okay? What happens at lunch? Well, he's still running this machine, but he's eating a burrito or a hamburger, and he's getting a drink. And maybe through that module, it's not going to be the exact same density all the way through. So he might have been really diligent on the end, but in the middles, he might have let that thing kind of get a little bit soft. So what that does to us, it makes the module very easy to break when we go to pick it up with these trucks, with these chains. But it also changes the density of that cotton. So when we're needing a certain amount of cotton to fill all of our gin stands, we can't get it done on the same speed because the man or woman running the module feeder, most of the time it's your best module builder, people are women. They have a little bit more patience and they do a little better job. With that being said, the swag in there that's not as dense will not allow us to have the same amount of cotton coming through the gin. So we're over there turning that booger up in the middle of that module. Well, guess what happens? He might have gotten more diligent, or she might have gotten more diligent on the other side of that module, and we hit that, and all of a sudden we chock that thing full of cotton real fast. If we do that, we have a chance of what we call choking up the gin. And so this is just a big wad of cotton that is strong enough and powerful enough to stop the machinery from running. And then if we keep stacking cotton on top of that, then we have about a 2 or 3 hour job digging all that stuff out by hand. So that's no fun. One thing that I do every time is I have a drawing. This is for the people that ginned with Pumpkin Center Gin last year. So if you ginned any cotton at Pumpkin Center last year, your name has gone into a hat. A bucket, not a hat. Anyways, today we're giving away M18 Fuel Impact. This is a bad dude. So we use these things to take off big pulleys and stuff in the gin. These will also break loose pivot tires. These are very, very strong and very good. This is a full kit. It comes with the battery charger and the battery. And we're going to pull somebody's name out of the hat. And if you did gin cotton at Pumpkin Center this year, so this is our March video. I'm a little bit behind, but I am catching up quick. So let's dig around in here. All right, we got one. So I'll call this man in a little bit and tell him that he won this impact. I think it'll be a very helpful thing for his business, as it is ours. I actually carry these in I have one, and I have it in a Harbor Freight box, and I carry that to rodeos with us to, change tires and stuff if we blow a tire out on a trailer. Very, very good piece of equipment. So with that being said, thank y'all for listening. Hope you have a good day. We appreciate your tuning in to Ginnin Cotton. Things are changing fast. Our background may change a little bit here pretty soon. I have a great lady helping, and we're going to make this as professional as we can make it. But thanks for listening to Ginnin Cotton. Y'all have a great day.